Thank you for staying tuned to my channel. In today's lesson, we are going to look at how best we are going to replace the pivot of the Silver Crest blender, the Kenwood or the same Sinbo blender. The next thing that this video seeks to resolve is how to prevent the jar from being leaking. This very jar we see here is its pivot here, its spot. So you see it's shaking. So it's shaking. When you come to this very part too, you see that the pivot here has worn out. It has worn out. So most often when things of such happens, you realize that when you are blending, you will not get the smooth texture of your unit that you are blending. So the next thing we will look at is, this is what we are going to be talking about. So you see that the jar will be leaking. So nice. So you see, when you check my palm, you see that it's leaking bit and my palm is getting wet. So you can see it carefully. So we are going to look at how best to replace the pivot here and that of the pivot here. So the next thing that you will be in need of is the male and female pivot, just as you can see. So this pivot goes to the jar and this very one goes to the top of the blender, this very part. So what you need is this Allen key to open the base of the jar. So we are going to open. When you turn the base of the jar, you see close and open. So you put this Allen key into these two holes. Then you spin to open. You spin to open. When you open, then you quickly take off the spot pivot. So you can see it. You see that it's shaking. Is the bearing within it got spot, so we need to replace it. So this is the new pivot, so we can now put it in it successfully. Then we take the base of this, then you put one hand into it successfully or nicely. You press it firmly, then you close it. You take your time and you close it nicely. Then you take the Allen key. Now you turn it to close firmly. You tighten it nicely or firmly. Let's try pouring some water in and see what will happen. No more dropping, no more leakage. So we have replaced the pivot of this jar that it got its pivot spot and leaking as well. So the next thing we are going to look out for is to replace this very pivot with a brand new one. So you get your star screwdriver, then you unscrew this. So you see, this is the sport one, this is the sport one, and this is the new one. So you can see the difference. The new one, you realize that the teeth in here is very firm, whilst the sport one, you realize that the teeth of it has worn out. So I then put the new one here, then I screw it. I screw it nicely. So we got our jar and pivot replaced successfully. The jar is no more leaking, so you can see there's water inside. As you can see, it's no more leaking. So you see, this is a new pivot. And well, one may ask that where can you get the pivot to buy when yours is spoilt? Look at the description of this video. You get in contact with our social media handles and you link up with us, and we will get you with this pivot so that you can change yours when it is linking. In our next video, we'll be tackling how to solve the blenders that has been smoking. We'll be addressing those challenges as well. In case you find value in this video, I'll play with you to give it a thumbs up. If you have any question too, never hesitate to leave your question in the comment section below and we'll address it. Thank you.